In our last short film, we began to highlight some of the areas around communication that all of us need to think about and embrace as we look to develop our capability as communicators. This time, we're going to put those communication maxims in a more organisational context. I'm going to share with you an example that I was lucky enough to experience with a client that I was working for, and this demonstrates clearly a number of things, that the power of effective organisational communication and also a particular workplace culture that can work really well. So, for this particular client, I was taken on to deliver a number of workshops across the length and the breadth of the UK. And I was working with a particular group of people that were looking to build their client base, to expand their business in a particular sector, relationship managers. And I got my briefing and I made sure I was properly prepared as I would. And I got a list of people that were coming, 12 attendees per 20 events that I was running across the length and breadth of the UK. There were also some senior representatives from this organisation that were due to attend each of these events. So there would be a local manager, an area manager and a regional manager. The reason that I share this with you is that you may have experienced similar, but you go to some learning events and maybe one or two people don't turn up. And possibly the seniors in that organisation, because they are busy people, send somebody else or just can't come, so they send their apologies. That can often happen for very understandable organisational reasons. Anyway, day one, I turn up and 12 delegates are there. The local manager, the area manager, the regional manager are there. So they do their introductions, they introduce me and explain what I'm there to do. The local manager, the area manager, the regional manager say their bit and put all of this learning in a context. So if you want, it's best practice in terms of setting up a learning event. Everybody at the senior level are there to say their piece and give it a context. It got better, because every one of those 12 delegates knew why they were there. They'd all done their pre-course preparation. They knew what we were going to cover, and they knew what they had to do as a result when they went back to the workplace. They had been very well briefed to a person. How could I tell that? Over the 2 days that I was working with them. So it wasn't just the words that they said, they put their hands up in front of their seniors to say, yes, of course we've done this work, yes, of course we're prepared. Yes, they had, because we were working together over a 2-day period and they had to pass this 2-day event. So I went to event number 2 and exactly the same thing happened. Very different part of the country, 12 delegates fully briefed, knew why they were there, what they had to do, local manager, area manager, regional manager. Same script, almost word for word, the same script. And so it went on. So from Scotland, North, East, Midlands, London, South East, South West, into Wales, the message was the same. That cascade from central London, where the head office of this particular organisation was, right the way out through to the regions, right the way down to the localities, was consistent. It was clear. The regional managers had their brief and shared it. The area managers had their brief and shared it. The local managers had their brief and shared it. Every one of those delegates turned up without exception on the 20 events that I was responsible for running. Everybody had been briefed. By the time we got to event 4 or 5 and I heard this consistency of message, and this consistency of preparation from the delegates, an element of surrealism came, because I'd never seen anything quite like this before, and I haven't since actually, in terms of this almost regimental approach to the way things were. And then, of course, I started to explore how can this be so perfect in terms of organisational communication? And as always, there's more. These groups of 12 delegates, as was the learning ethos for this organisation in whatever learning that they did, was very clear. It was very, very simple. So you went on a learning event and the contextual message was the same from every local manager, area manager and regional manager in these 20 events. The message was exactly the same. So, David is here to work with you for these next 2 days. We expect you to fully engage, so that's fine, you would expect that anyway. And then, when you go back to the workplace, and here's the bit, one of 3 things will happen. Firstly, you'll demonstrate that you've applied this learning and your level of job performance will improve. The second thing is, you'll go back to the workplace and your level of job performance might not improve in the way that everybody would hope. We will give you one more chance, retrain you, then you will go back and your level of job performance will improve. Or the third option, you don't fully engage with the training and you leave. There was real clarity about what was going to happen in whichever one of those 3 scenarios fell into place. As an organisation, as a part of what I was lucky enough to be involved in, and just the way things are in that organisation, they are very aggressive in their chosen marketplaces. And they are very successful in their chosen marketplaces. They have what they call a command and control workplace culture, which means there are clear levels of hierarchy, which means everybody is clear about the roles that they have, what they need to do, at what level, are very clear about the rewards they will get for meeting various levels of achievement. And there'll be some that say, command and control, you can't have workplaces like that because they just don't work. Well, they do work. I've seen it, I've been part of it and enjoyed being part of it, as I enjoy being part of other workplace cultures, because different workplace cultures can work just as effectively. It really does depend. But it all came together in an organisation like that. But one of the keys, if you're going to be part of a command and control workplace culture with that sort of organisational communication, you have to be the right fit as an employee. You really have to be that right type of employee to work there. And all of those delegates that were there seemed to be of that fit. Where it starts to go wrong, I had some long-standing friends, very capable people in one of the competitor organisations that were seduced by this high demand for achievement and high reward that went with this particular organisation, and they jumped ship and joined. Of the 6 people that I knew of, 2 stayed because they really adapted to this command and control type of environment. 4, no. It was just not the way that they were used to working, and they didn't last very long. It just did not work. So the moral of the story from this short film is to share with you the ways in which we can explore your organisational communication and where you fit within your organisational communication strategy. We will also look at different ways in which organisations communicate, because what I hope I've shown you is even when you have a situation of a command and control structure, it can be incredibly powerful, it can be incredibly engaging, and it can be incredibly successful. Thank you very much. Please take a look at our website, www.djlearning.co.uk, where you'll find out a little bit more about what we can get up to if you join us on our communication events. Thank you very much.